A dangerous podcast.
Listen, this is Jay and I've spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours in cars together, and we never tried this. So, kudos.
Well, sick, dude. Thank you for the. I felt like a compliment.
It was. If nothing else, comedy should be daring and dangerous, and this is pushing the limits of both those things.
Yes.
Yes, dude. This is definitely. We are. Yeah, this is dangerous. But yeah, we're having a good time though.
We're really doing it.
Yeah, I'm excited to be doing some stand up.
My middle name.
You know,
but stranger is my first name.
There's a ton of comics all over, right? But not every single one of us get to work on a Friday or a Saturday night. So these are always the best gigs.
I'm usually a Tuesday guy.
Whenever somebody asks me how much to book me for just like a Friday or a Saturday, I'm always like $6,000.
Yeah.
Because you're taking the whole weekend. You're taking the whole weekend away from me. Like somebody's gonna give you $6,000. No, but you might.
Yeah, I had fucking dude I don't know, a few months back. He's like, yeah, how much you charge to do a set? And I was like, I'd like to get about 500. He's like, oh damn, maybe next time. I got 200. I said, I'll take it.
I said, why'd you tell me you cash money? Shit.
Yeah.
I thought just about roll coins or something.
Oh, you talking about how much I'll do a show for? Oh, I'll do it for near nothing.
Oh, you meant comedy. Oh, well, shit, man.
You're like, I thought you were
I'm having a sale.
Yeah. How much do you want a set? 500. I haven't ever got it, but I'm.
Well, that's the other thing about it is like you could have just kept your mouth shut, shown up, done the set, just do 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I said 500. I do it a third of it.
Yeah, I'll fucking break it down. I did the math.
I figured it out in my head while I was performing.
You're your own accountant, also. That's
what city are we going to right now?
Ashtabula, right?
I thought that was in Louisiana or Mississippi or something.
It's
but
weird.
We're going there via Portsmouth.
Yeah, this should be
a hell of a
exciting.
drive. 3 hours, which is ironically the same amount of time Gilligan was supposed to be on that boat.
Dude,
that's
a bad omen right now.
I told you not to bring that up.
That's why I got a strict under 3 hour distance travel time. I ain't getting caught like Gilligan.
Yeah.
You know they still ain't getting royalties.
Shout out to Big G.
Not again.
OG Gilligan. So you guys have been on the road a lot together, and you guys have also been in comedy for a lot longer. Can you guys tell me some crazy road stories
One
from
time
throughout
I
the
took
years?
Jay all the way
This
to.
camera's off.
So, yeah. One time I took
On the
Jay
record.
to where we go, Jay? Moorhead, Fargo.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
For a show I wasn't even booked on.
What the fuck?
Because Vince Morris decided at the last minute he was going to fly. Him and Jay were going to rent a car, and he was like, you know what, Jay, I think I'm just going to fly. I don't want to be in the car that long. And Jay was like,
Yeah.
well, I can't afford to rent the whole car myself and get up there and come back and make any money. So I was living in Chicago at the time, and I was getting ready to go home, and I had nothing to do that weekend. So I was like, all right, Jay, just get in the car. Let's drive up there. And it was one of the craziest weekends
Yeah.
I think I've ever experienced.
So what
Man,
happened?
and that was so and it was in like January or February. I mean, it was so fucking cold up there. Well, we were in North Dakota.
We were on
We were in
it's like,
Minnesota?
yeah, it's like on the edge. Fargo.
Like right on the river.
Fargo, Moorhead, they call it. It's like, that's how it's like listed because they touch each other and they're two major cities. But we were in Moorhead, but we actually went into Fargo one day for dinner, I think.
Yeah.
At a
I
nice
watched that
restaurant.
show, Fargo.
Oh, dude, it's the best show on TV.
So fucking good,
Every
dude.
season stands on its own.
Dude, you know what I just found out recently, though? Not a true story.
Hell, you say.
Dude, I know.
Get out.
Hey, listen, I don't mean to burst your bubble. I was really upset when I found out, too, but are you telling me that all this stuff about the fish falling from the sky and the UFOs and stuff is real?
Well, what?
That's
I've seen it on the television,
Well,
buddy. I mean, it gotta be real.
You gotta be careful about what
Saw
you
it with
believe.
my own eyes.
I mean, they ain't just putting anything on television.
Well, there's no law against saying that it's a true story. So,
Freedom of speech.
yep, freedom of speech. You can put that at
It's a true story, and that's a lie.
It is a lie. Yeah, it's an absolute lie, dude. So, even though that sucks, I still love the show Fargo. It's a great
It's a
series.
thinker, man. I love that show.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the new season yet, but I hear good things.
The new one was pretty good. I just finished it. I wasn't a fan of 4 or 5. 1 and 2 were the best seasons, and I think 3 fell off a little bit for me. And
The
then
one with Chris Rock you didn't like?
it was okay, but I don't know that it was I don't know. It was just different. It was a good show for what it was.
A lot of black people for Fargo.
Right. Well, yeah, it was a good show for what it was, but I'm saying like it didn't feel connected to the other shows for whatever reason.
It didn't feel as connected. I will agree with you there.
Yeah, that's
but it
all.
was still one of my. I mean, I like them all for individual reasons, and I thought that was a real interesting take. A lot of what they were using, like the kids being raised by the other family.
Yeah, super interesting.
That was super interesting, but never seemed plausible or even reasonable to me.
Sure.
I've never even seen it advertised.
For Fargo, the show?
It's on FX,
you would like
right?
it. Yeah,
FX.
on FX. You can watch it on Hulu for free if you have Hulu.
Jay, wait for it to come out on VHS.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
It's gonna come out on VHS
I
eventually.
like to watch my movies in print.
They got it on Redbox.
The old red box.
Dude, I miss Redbox, dude.
I ain't seen one of them for a while.
I used to
don't think
watch a lot of
I
movies.
ever used a Redbox. If I did, it was one time.
Really?
And maybe I was just returning somebody.
Used a white box till it was red a couple times, but
Hey-oh!
It was one of those things where like you thought it was a good idea from a consumer standpoint because there was no more Blockbuster and Hollywood Videos and small video stores were going under. So you were like, well, this seems like a viable option if I still want to be entertained. But all the while they were burying fiber wire all over the country and we were starting to get high-speed internet and people were starting to go digital and download movies and stuff and things changed. So like there for a minute it was a good cash grab, but yeah, I thought movies were gonna be around forever. Like I never thought it was gonna be as simple as
just pulling your dick out and jerking off. I thought you'd always be taking the DVD, pulling it out.
Yeah. Sticky.
Squeeze your balls a couple times just to keep the blood flowing.
That's the problem
Sure
is
looks
your
like
hands
you
are
eat a lot
dirty.
of glazed donuts while you're watching movies over here. Buttons is all got a film on them.
That's
Shut
the
up
problem.
and tighten that belt up, would you?
Yeah, dude, you got dirty hands, but you still gotta stop the tape, right? You can't clean up while it's still going. You can't just have it in the background.
Who was it? Somebody used to have that fucking joke. But that's fucking jerking off, and then the screen goes black for a split second, and you see your reflection.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, oh, you piece of shit. What's wrong with you?
Nah, that's a funny angle.
The consonants.
Yeah, that Moorhead, that was a wild trip because we stopped at your place in Chicago, spent the night, and then the long part of the drive was after that.
Yeah.
What was the drive? Like how many hours?
We were in Dayton when I told him I'd take him, so I think we left on a Thursday, so we got back to Chicago Thursday night around 11 or 12. Had a few drinks, then crashed out to leave at like 6 in the morning because it was like another 10 hours or something like that.
I mean, it was it's fucking up there.
Shit.
It is fucking up.
So it was like 15 from here, huh? Something like that. Or longer.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
And we got there, man. We set that place on fire, not with like our great comedy or anything, just with like shenanigans.
Yeah.
Because it was one of these places where the club had been around for forever, but nobody wanted to manage it, and it was in a hotel. And I think the hotel general manager used to book it and run the hotel.
Wow.
So it was just like a real haphazard kind of a situation. He didn't really book it. Funny Business Agency booked it. He just like managed hiring people for it or whatever. But it was like
he was kind of a dick.
It was on a shoot. Well, see, now that kid, he was new. He came in just to do the club. And
do with the red hair or whatever?
Yeah. I don't know that he was a dick as much as he just didn't appreciate our brand of shenanigans.
Yeah, that's what I call a dick.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I base it off of.
Trying to be gracious.
Some parts of the country, they're just like too highbrow. They don't want to hear like dick jokes and cum.
No. This was definitely...
Because I'm dirty, too.
Some blue-collar shit. It was just... He was like... He wasn't a comic. And I think he did want to like be successful as a club manager. But he was just... green. He was probably 22 years old or something like that. I mean, like, he had probably never done any kind of management before.
Yeah.
So, comics...
He was taking it too serious.
I don't know if you know this or not. We're known for being loud and sort of taking control, and I think that's what we did when we got there. And plus, Vince Morris, nobody's louder or more take control than him.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Even off stage.
And
we're his flunkies. We look up to Vince, so we're just following his lead. Shit, how many times we almost been arrested with Vince, Jay?
Really?
All of them. And we were drinking like a motherfucker.
Non-stop, and that was probably another thing he probably wasn't thrilled with because there was some sort of deal. If you bought like a pitcher before this time, it was only like $5, or you get one free or whatever. So we bought like 4 pitchers.
And they cut that shit off the first night.
Oh,
You
wow.
don't understand.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And it was good beer too. It wasn't like just Bud Light or anything like that.
Yeah, you're like, dude, it's almost 5 o'clock. We better go order a bunch of these. Like, these motherfuckers about to stop selling
You guys
them.
need a cup?
They're-
It came in a cup.
They're going back to $9 in 3 minutes.
Right?
Yeah.
That blows my whole budget.
Yeah.
I ain't even performing.
Yeah. Yeah, you just came to hang out, dude. That's great. Sometimes that works out too, though.
It does, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And to be able to be in the comic flow where you're like, I'm not performing, but I am free this weekend, and I would rather be around comedy than just sitting in my fucking bedroom.
Absolutely, dude. You just want to, yeah, don't matter how long the trip is. It's like, it's all part of the fun, dude, and this
It's like
the experience.
when you're chasing your dreams, like things don't have to make sense. It's like,
None of it makes sense, you know, especially not to you. Try explaining it to other people.
oh, nobody understands. People are always like, well, why didn't you just fly?
Yeah.
It's
like-
my wings was tired.
Yeah.
Because the gig paid $140. Yeah.
But I got
Fucking
3
eight-
Facebook followers, Mom.
Yeah. 16 hours away and
Oh, Johnny, you don't even understand. You don't understand. It was supposed to be 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, but it was 2 shows Friday, 1 show Saturday because the bathroom
Oh, yeah.
pipes froze
Shit.
Yeah.
during the first show, and they're not allowed to be open without running water.
Holy shit! So they had to shut the show
forgot
down.
about
The room
that.
was sat. Everyone had to get up and leave.
No
I
way.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Dude, that blows.
Vince Moore still sold merch to the people leaving the show.
He's the man, bro.
So fucking $700 worth of shirts.
Holy shit.
Sold out.
Holy shit. Yeah, Vince is a legend, man.
Oh, he's a beast.
Yeah, I didn't realize kind of how good I had it where I'm at location wise, like being this close to Cincy and Columbus and
Oh, right.
having the
People,
kind
that's
of
great.
That's
like
the one thing I tell people that don't understand, that are just like, oh, we like going to the comedy show every once in a while. Starting comedy in Dayton or in and around that area,
yeah,
or Columbus even, the access that you have to A, rooms and B, rooms,
yeah,
I mean, there's some states that don't
Don't
have
any.
that many clubs combined for
Yeah.
what you get in a 3-hour travel radius if you live in Dayton or Columbus,
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
it is.
yeah.
Cincinnati, Cleveland are a little bit, and Toledo are a little bit more remote, but they have Toledo's got Detroit at 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
I don't know what Cleveland has around it, but they have a couple clubs there, and they definitely sustain. Hilarities and the Improv has it locked down. I mean, I don't know what the other smaller rooms are like there, but
Well, you just did Crackpots, right?
I just did Crackpots. Dude, you guys should go up there. Chris is a cool guy.
is that Cleveland?
That's like not Cleveland, it's Massillon.
Oh, okay.
So it's not quite Cleveland. It's maybe like 45, 50 minutes south, but it's in the middle of everything. So it's
Yeah.
not quite Akron. It's not quite Canton. And they don't draw a crowd from Massillon, but they draw a crowd from all those other outlying cities.
Nice.
So it's cool because it's people who a lot of times never seen comedy, and they're just looking for like a good time.
Yeah.
They do come to laugh, and they're fun crowds in that way. So yeah, dude, you never know what you're gonna get going to those little fucking small towns.
Listen,
Could be a
That's
waste.
where it's
That's how we
at.
got
It's
our
small
city.
towns where it's at.
Yeah.
Fucking
Small towns
handbeds.
are like grateful. I remember one time me and Steve Sabo did this gig out in where was that? Out in North Dakota, South Dakota, somewhere out there. Cannot remember the name of it. They're gonna hate me if any of them see it because I still got friends out there. But the first time we went there, it was pretty mild, but it was in winter. Next time we got there, it's like a 5-alarm blizzard or whatever. We could barely see the road. There's a sign in a barrel in the middle of the road, like the crossroads in the middle of the town, that says comedy show with like an arrow.
Holy fuck.
Written in Sharpie.
That's so funny, dude.
I made Steve take a picture with
Was it
it.
spelled right?
It was, but it was, it was sloppy.
Oh
But when I got there, people were wearing like the T-shirt I was selling the year before when I was there. I was just like, God damn,
That's
I did
great.
not take this seriously enough.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Wish I'd have wrote a new joke for you.
Yeah.
I flipped the, I didn't open with my closer, but the middle was the same.
Speaking
always
of
keep it
jokes,
fresh.
I do notice though, like being in the markets that I'm in, like I have a lot of younger hip crowds, especially doing all these open mics, breweries, and all these different weird rooms. So a lot of my stuff about like weed or like the weird shit about technology and the nuances about being alive now, sometimes those older crowds don't quite connect with me. Like they're laughing, but you can tell there's a disconnect. You know what I
that's
mean?
Exactly how I feel, but with the
When you do the
younger
younger generation, I bet it's very similar. It's like, they know it's funny, but there's a sort of disconnect there.
It's interesting because sometimes I feel like in a brewery show or in a place that's not like where they just put the seats, like what makes, priming people to laugh, there has to be a pretty good equation of sight, seating, and sound. So if the seats are off, folding chairs, but they got to hold their drinks or something like that, or, just not quite comfortable. And they don't have to be that comfortable, but if they're not there, like, bench seating or something, or tables where they got to turn around or something.
Yeah.
That can throw off laughter. Then if the lighting isn't that good, and I mean by the lights are too bright, the lights are too dark.
Yes.
That really throws off the laughs.
Yes.
And if the sound is choppy or echoey or whatever, that throws. So if all three of those things aren't maxed out, which the only time you really typically get that is a sound engineer set up the show or you're in a comedy club.
Yes.
A joke that always works can sometimes fall flat. And I find that the one thing that I have to take a risky joke and make it fall flat is if other people can see other people laughing. Because nobody wants to be seen laughing at a risky joke.
Right.
Yes. No, that makes a lot of sense.
That's why sometimes you look out and you see people covering their mouth.
Yeah.
It's a natural reaction to a little bit of shame, but still thinking it's funny.
I think earlier in my career, I would throw something away that worked and then didn't work a few times, and I wasn't understanding like the things that were going on in the room and how it's a lot more than just me saying this into a microphone that makes the show. Another thing maybe you didn't mention, but the stage itself and having that setting, whether you're on a riser or not, or that also matters as far in lighting and sound and everything like
but then
that.
You go to a place like Go Bananas where the ceilings are super low and the stage is 6 inches higher than the rest of the floor.
Yeah, it's just enough. Yes.
Just enough. That's where the seating comes in, because the seating has to be lower than the performer.
Yeah.
And the sight, you know what I mean? It's all kind of a cocktail of opportunities. And, some places do it despite what we know to be true. Like the new Funny Bone design with the super high ceilings. It's like, it's maybe not ideal for the comic, maybe ideal for the patron. I don't know.
It's interesting. It's definitely a fun way to do a show. I guess
you feel like you're in a goddamn castle cathedral or something.
Yeah, especially when you're on the upper deck. If you're on the upper deck, that's quite an experience watching the show from a. But
I think this is where Dale wrecked right here.
Yep, sure is. Right up here by Polaris.
Another time Adrian come and rescue saved
to
the
a
day.
show I wasn't even on.
That
that was probably one of the most liked photos I ever posted on Facebook. Was Jay changing a tire, Dale leaning over him, and me wearing like one of those emergency orange safety smocks, grinning, taking a selfie with their wrecked car behind me.
Oh,
damn! You guys were doing a gig up north and coming back.
I was going to do a gig. I think you had just moved to Columbus, right?
I just moved to Columbus.
And you were coming back down.
He had just moved back from Chicago. We were going
so it was on this side of the road.
Yeah, so we didn't make it. It was snowing and shit, and we got loose. And
no, it was warm out. It was raining. It was in the summer.
Oh, rain. Okay.
And Dale was trying to speed, and Jay was like, "Why are you going so fast?" He's like, "I'm going the speed limit." He was like trying to pass everybody. And even when I got there, Dale was as defensive as fuck about not speeding. I wasn't speeding every time Jay brought it up. But I mean, if there was anybody that was just a bad luck Chuck, it was Dale.
The hell, poor fucking guy.
What's the craziest thing that ever happened where you couldn't get to a gig for either one of you? Like, what's the
I've made it to every gig.
You made it to every gig ever.
I've made it to every gig ever, unless I said, before I left, I ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
I've never missed a gig when en route. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
The closest I ever came, me and Sabo were doing a show in Nebraska, and we planned it out to have 5 hours to sleep at the hotel before we went to the show and we were gonna get the show an hour early. So 6 hours to kill before the show because it was such a long drive. We left in the middle of the night. And we hit a piece of stopped traffic where there was a barrier on the left side of the road, a barrier on the right side of the road. Nobody could go anywhere. People were getting out of their cars and running to this industrial building to take a piss or whatever. I mean, people were just going in the middle of the road and shit. It was
holy shit.
Anarchy. And we were stopped. We had another 2 hours to go. And we were stopped for exactly enough time for us to get to the show 5 minutes before it was supposed to start.
Oh shit.
God. But when I was getting ready to go on stage, they were like, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. We're going to push it back 15 minutes.
Perfect.
And that was like, thank fucking God.
Yeah.
But I remember like performing, feeling like I bombed, and then sold all my T-shirts after the show.
That's
Nice.
sick, dude.
But it was
I mean,
it was still nerve-wracking.
I've missed a couple, just usually car trouble.
Car troubles, yeah.
Tell them the story, Jay, about the time your car almost made it to the Funny Bone. Didn't you break down the side of the road, have to hoof it up there about 2 miles from the exit? This would have been way back before.
No, I remember that, but I don't remember. Yeah, I did. I broke down on over on like the next exit under the overpass, going to the Funny Bone, if I'm not mistaken.
You kept walking to the show? You
Yeah.
walked up there?
Yeah.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
and then fucking people from the show were like, "Yeah, we saw you down on the fucking highway."
Dude, that's so funny, bro.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I
You're
used
like,
to
yeah,
drink-
buy my merch, motherfucker. Something.
Yeah. Man,
I'm trying to buy a bicycle so I can get to the next show.
man, I had a nice fucking bicycle back when I was fucking strung out. Boy, I get from fucking one end of town to the fucking other in about 2 minutes.
Oh shit, this guy's cutting off to the side.
It
This guy
ain't-
says, I ain't going.
All
I'm
right,
turning around.
turn
Yeah.
around. Left your charger at home, did you? Seemed important. Shit.
I always respected people that turn right in there where it says no U-turn. I'm like, yeah.
I know. I'm too.
Fuck
I'm
them.
Yeah.
too darkly complected to take that.
No, you're going down. Yeah, no. Hey, we need to stop at exit 151.
Lion's Den. Let's
Oh.
go, baby.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I thought it was Lions Club.
Oh no, that's the Lion's Den.
Lion's Den's too fancy for Jay. He shops at the Vulture's Den.
No, I like a
Vultures.
good yard sale.
Is that where you get your used
You
sex
guys ain't
toys?
sticking together. You know it ain't no good.
You know what a concrete vibrator is?
Yeah.
No.
Just a big
They got
long
gas
mouth-
and electric.
Yeah, well, the one we got a job is a battery operator, like DeWalt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got that big fucking vibrator on it. And it would lay over the fucking hood of the car. It's about that big around.
Well, that's a small one.
Yeah, just a little one. But the when I first started there, this dude was like, he's like, hey man, I fucking took that thing home. Fucking, he said the old lady had a fucking broken dildo. He said I just put it over the top. I'm like, whoa, slow down,
Slow down,
No
everybody.
Hold
way,
up.
dude.
Where this thing been?
How you
I'm
bring
about
it
to put it in concrete.
Is this gas power?
No, it was a battery.
Okay.
But still, I mean,
Yeah, I still couldn't see him lighting that thing
hold
up in
the
his
trigger down
bedroom.
on a sawzall and see if you can compete with that.
Yeah.
So,
That's about the same.
That's like John Henry, dude. It's man versus machine.
well, the dude said I took his home or whatever, and I had this broken dildo. I'm like, hold on, you had a broken dildo. All right, first, why'd you keep it? How'd it break? Come on, give us. I mean, the dog chewed the fucking head of it
Oh,
off.
warranty
Right.
went out on it.
They
So
kept
he-
it around for some reason, you know?
Well, this dude fucking said he puts this fucking broken dildo on this son of a bitch, feeds it to the old lady. He said, and then he took his little zip ties and fucking zip tied the trigger down. So if he wanted to go up speed, he'd just do it one click at a time.
God.
I was like, God damn, you put some fucking thought behind it. He's like, well, I didn't want to fucking crank it all the way up and fucking, vibrate her hips out of fucking socket.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, dude. I've never seen a rechargeable one, but I've seen the plug-in kind.
The Sibian?
And the battery kind.
Yeah, I've seen it on
Or, I mean, the gas kind.
YouPorn.
And
Gas,
There's
the
gas-
gas ones are, 6-7 inches
dildo?
round. Well, I mean,
Gas-powered
that's what
dildo?
they call it.
Gas-powered dildo?
Wow!
It's a rocket, dude.
Hey, it's the anniversary.
that's
Put
a-
93 in it.
Is that
Fuck.
made by Tesla?
Yeah.
Is that solar, dude?
Fuck.
Her ex-boyfriend was RoboCop.
Yeah, from Detroit.
Motor City.
Dude, that's the coolest thing they have up there, by the way, is just that statue of RoboCop.
Oh, I
Rest
didn't.
of
Was that
Detroit.
supposed to be in Detroit?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, it was.
That's where the movie was filmed.
The
Well, damn.
original and the remake.
So of all the people that have been successful from Detroit, and they got a fucking statue of the fucking
Yeah,
the cop.
the cop.
Hey, it's the same
I mean,
with...
at least Peoria has fucking Richard Pryor statue.
Well, Philadelphia has Rocky, and he's
Right.
not even from
Right,
there.
That's true.
He doesn't even live there. It's
That's true.
really weird. They
Well,
just
yeah,
filmed the
and
movie
didn't
there.
Bill Burr say that when he went off on that fucking rant?
yeah.
He's like, you motherfuckers, Joe Lewis is from here.
Joe Lewis
And you
actually
guys-
lives there, yeah.
And you guys have a fucking statue. What
That's-
a great fucking 15, 20 minute set.
Dude.
Imagine having the balls to go off like that.
What's crazy is it became famous years later.
Yeah,
right?
nobody.
Like,
Yeah,
some people knew about it at the time, but then it like started getting replayed on the internet, and people were like, "Can you believe this happened?"
yeah. In the comedy community, they all knew he was kind of a legend in the comedy community at that point, right? But then, yeah, it took
Yep.
years later for people to realize, like,
That
what the
he's the
fuck?
real motherfucker.
He's the real deal. Yeah.
Dude, how fucking great is that when he's like, motherfucker, got 12 minutes left and I will be selling my
Yeah.
CDs. That is fucking great.
Yeah, comedy was like that for a while, where they would oversell shows in these like kind of arena situations. That they would say, well, the comics are big enough, they'll calm down for that. But I saw like Key and Peele at a college one time with like probably 5,000-6,000 people, could not get a word out basically.
Really?
People just wouldn't shut up.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Ron.
Chappelle had that happen in North Carolina at a college show one time, where people were just like, "I'm Rick James,"
Oh,
and just
yeah,
wouldn't shut
yeah.
up. And he just
Damn.
sat there. He just stood there because he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get
getting made.
get the check."
Yeah.
So if you won't shut up, I ain't gonna say nothing. But it's why I think that comedy is honestly best in like maybe 150 max.
Yeah.
Sometimes even smaller, 75, 80 is like a magical thing, especially if the
Oh my
site
God, is that
good.
the motherland over there? Oh my God, take me.
Oh, it's the
I
Dollar
wanna get a
Tree
picture.
Family Dollar. I didn't know they were.
home.
Hey, who knew those were together? Did you guys know those corporations were
Well,
one and the
there's-
same?
yeah, well, down around my neck of the woods, they're starting to build those stores together. Half the store, the left side's Dollar Tree and the right side's Family Dollar.
All right, Big Dollar
Right
taking
down
over the
middle.
world.
They call it the Dollar Holler.
The Dollar Holler.
The last time I went to Dollar Tree, a guy was getting chased out for shoplifting. He had a bunch of ladles in his jacket.
That's
And I was
hilarious.
just thinking to myself, like,
Let him go.
yeah, like,
Speaking of people getting thrown out, I saw someone get thrown out of the crackpots last night. We're gonna restart the cameras here, and we got like
In
1
2
minute.
minutes.
Yeah, we got like a minute or two. But
Oh,
this
is
dude
that
got
what
this dude got thrown out. It was so funny, dude, because you guys know Nick Taylor.
yeah.
Okay, good friend of mine. So I was up there. I rode up there just with him, just to show support and also just to talk to the owner about coming back. And this guy was leaving. Nick and I were outside, so we didn't know the situation had popped off. And then while this guy was coming out, he looked at Nick and he was like, "Man, I loved your stuff." And Nick was like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man." And then he threw his head back and he was like, "But fuck those other comics inside." And we were like, "Oh shit, what? Like, are we a part of this right now?" Yeah, dude. And so then,
aggressive.
yeah, then we kind of seen everybody else coming out. They were like throwing the rest of their table out because they were just like chatty Cathy's. But have you guys ever seen anybody get thrown out of a club or a show for talking?
Oh, man,
yeah.
how many times?
All right, we're gonna pull it up as soon as let's talk about it as soon as we reset these cameras.
All right, we're
let's
taking
do
a
that
break.
real quick. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
There'll be a word from your sponsors.
Yes, a word from your sponsor.
Call your AA sponsor.
Yep, it is now.
And we're back.
All right, we're back, baby. Road tripping with the boys.
Roadcast.
Roadcast. This is
Roadcast.
cool. I think people are gonna dig this. The last one that I did was at Bricky's. It was a live show, and now we're on the road trying to mix it up. You know, it doesn't always have to be in the studio. I'm just trying to I don't know, man. I don't even know what this is anymore. Like this fucking podcast shit. I'm just making stuff.
Wing.
Content.
Yeah, it's just content. Like, who really cares what comics say to each other in a car? But the internet. I think the internet actually cares. So.
It's the crackpot thing last night. Was that the first time you've seen somebody get thrown out?
So no, I've seen that happen 4 times in my 6 years of stand-up. So the first time I saw Jeff,
really good,
I
yeah.
saw
That's
Jeff
pretty
Tate. So Jeff Tate cussed the lady out at Wiley's,
Yeah,
and
I've
I can't even
Jeff
remember how many
Tate.
times I've seen Jeff
Listen,
Tate walk or kick.
I
people
love
out.
Jeff Tate. I think he's so funny, and I respect him a lot. But I don't think he's allowed at Wiley's because of that situation. And this was like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't think he's allowed there. But he cussed the lady out during an improv show where the crowd was supposed to be talking to you. And he flipped out. I'm not sure where he malfunctioned, but he was like, "You can't be fucking talking to us while we're on stage." And they were supposed to be, actually. And I thought Jeff knew that. And it was Nate Washington's show, Fight Club. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. And then a second time, I'll tell you guys all 4 real quick. The second time was Dwight Simmons from Indianapolis. You guys know him?
He's a
A
stud.
lady was talking during his show, wouldn't shut up. He warned her a couple times, and finally he asked the staff to remove her. And then another time was I was in Louisville at Caravan, and this lady was talking the whole time. And I was on the All-Star weekend. And you guys know Rich Reagan?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Rich is the man. Rich is a sweetheart of a man too, though. Very nice guy. I watched him destroy this lady for his whole set for 5 minutes. Called her a bitch and everything. He was like, doesn't everybody want her to shut the fuck up? And the crowd was going nuts. They loved it, right? So we thought she was done. And I go up after Rich, and she's like, God damn, he's so tall, or something like that. And then I was like, dude, I looked at the door guy and I was like, are we just gonna let her do this? Everybody gonna be cool with this the whole show? And then they ejected her. And then last night,
ejector seat?
like, no, they went and pulled her. They were like, you're out of here. And she was like, but why?
I'm just trying to help.
Why?
Just trying to make it better. Yeah.
They like it when we do this.
Yeah. Now, what about you guys? Have you guys ever seen anybody get ejected from the club?
Oh my God, so many times. I
Really?
I can't count them. Oh my God.
More than
I've seen
4?
Jay get kicked out of the club.
You've been kicked out of the comedy club?
I don't
No.
know, probably.
Yeah.
Pretty close, though. One time I was at the Columbus Funny Bone and a guy was getting kicked out because he was beefing with his server, not anything that was happening with the comic on stage or anything. Comic didn't even, had to, stop for a second. But I remember, I must have been middling because I was off stage for a while. I don't remember who was on stage, but the guy just starts losing his shit. He's like yelling because they didn't have ranch dressing.
No fucking
Kind of with
way.
him on this.
Right? And I was like, what the fuck? And so I went out back, smoked some weed or something like that by the dumpsters. It was like a loading dock right there.
Yeah.
And I see some cruisers there with their lights on. Sure enough, a couple seconds later, they're bringing this guy out in cuffs.
Over ranch.
And they got him sitting on the curb before they put him in the car, asking him some questions, and he's like, I wasn't even supposed to go out tonight. I was like, bro.
Luck of the draw,
You
dude.
have ranch at the crib. You should have stayed in.
Do you, you know Michael Winslow? Black dude
Yes,
from,
Cincinnati, right?
No, he's a black dude from
Police Academy.
Police Academy. Does all the
Michael
sounds
Winslow.
and-
All right. I thought you were talking about a comic. No, okay.
So, I don't. For whatever reason, I got booked with him so many fucking times. I don't even know. I probably have for 25 times. No, because I don't think he really cared for me. But
Is that you?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But so so he goes. He's getting ready to start his fucking closer, where his closing bit he does this fucking Louis or it was a wonderful world. What a Satchmo. What a wonderful world. The Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong.
Oh, he does the
Yeah.
impression of it
He
and
does the
sings
impression.
it.
It's spot on. Yeah. And so he's getting ready to start it, whatever. And we're at the old Cincinnati Funny, with Levy Funny.
On the
Club.
levee.
I never went to that one.
Newport.
Oh, I love it. I fucking
Represent,
love it.
right
It was
across from
rough,
Thompson
but it was
House.
awesome. Once you figured that room out, it was fucking about like Toledo. Once you figured that out.
Once you
then
figured it
was
out, it was way better, way more stable than Toledo. Toledo was a very homogenous group. It was going to either be all black people from Detroit or Toledo or all white people from Perrysburg.
Damn.
The Levy Funny Bone was always going to be a swampy mix of Latinos, whites, and blacks, all pretty middle, lower class.
And that's what you want. That's the kind of room you
100%.
want. You want a mixture of
I
everyone.
just don't want him
Section
to be
2,
doing
section-
better than me. That's all.
Yeah.
But, so he's getting ready to go to his fucking clothes. He's got the hat and shit on. He's got all the lights are down and fucking. You just hear, all of a sudden you just hear, bitch, shut the fuck up. And this big white country corn-fed looking motherfucker looked like a female jelly roll. Big girl.
Oh, shit.
And then this fucking black chick, they just stood up in the back tier and just started fucking rock'em sock'em robots. Just fucking started beating the fuck out of each other.
Of course.
God damn.
And then he's like, so then Winslow's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. And so then he starts voicing, making all the sound like, pew, 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 pew.
Oh, shit.
He's doing all the sounds and shit. And so that, there's a real fight going on here and people are watching. So then he starts slowly getting everybody's attention back to the stage while they're still, it was amazing, really. But they both got kicked out. That was
Wait, but tell them the story about when the club downstairs started playing the music a little too early.
that might have been the same night.
Was this at Funny Bone on the Levee also?
Yeah. And so I'm down there, and then he was just kind of a particular guy, so I just stayed out of the green room, out of his way.
He doesn't realize that they haven't made a Police Academy movie in like 30
fucking
years.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, he's not very
so
humble.
he still thinks that
He
everybody.
knows how famous he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he still thinks that everybody fucking recognizes him and all this shit. Well, they don't. Well, underneath there used to have this bar underneath there. And they had like the fucking the electronic bull and all that shit. And so, anyway, so we go in there. Show's about to start. He's like, and he can hear their music. He's like, "You hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, they need to turn that down. That's going to affect the outcome of my show or what?" He said it's going to disrupt my show or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he does all the sounds and everything. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like,
If the nightclub
I'm
needs
pretty
music,
new.
I'll go down there and do voices for him.
so I go and Steve, the manager at the time, like, hey, I was like, this dude wants me to go down and fucking. He said his music's going to affect the show. He's like, all right, I'll call him. So he calls downstairs, tells him to turn it down. They don't. So then it's like 5 minutes before showtime. He's like, well, they haven't turned it down yet. He's like, all right, let's go. He just grabs his hat, puts it on, puts his jacket over his shoulders and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm just walking with the guy. And it's like, Saturday night, so they got bouncers at the door and all that. And he walks up to the bouncers and thinks that they recognize him. They don't. And they're like, he's like,
They're like being nice. They're like, what's up, dude?
yeah, they're like, what's up, dude? He's like, yeah, I need to speak to the manager. And he's like, all right, which one? He's like, whoever's in charge of the sound. So this young fucking firecracker, hot-headed little Latino manager comes out and she's like, instantly, she's like, yeah, how can I help you? He's like, hi, I'm Mr. Winslow.
The headliner
like,
at the Funny Bone, as if the Funny Bone is like carries more weight than this dance club
Yeah.
in the mall.
And he says, he goes, I need you to turn your music down. It's going to affect the outcome of my show. She's just looks behind her like, is this motherfucker talking to me?
Yeah.
She was like, well, she said, I don't know if you know this, but I'm trying to run a fucking business down here too. She's like, I might turn it down a little bit, but you guys have called a couple times, and she didn't even fucking turn it down. But so then he's like, all right, well, thank you. And then she walks off, and then he just stands there until she's completely out of sight. I guess made him feel like he got closure on it or something. I don't know.
That's how you let a woman know she didn't win.
Yeah, you just
I'm still
stand there.
standing here.
Yeah.
And so I know that the show's starting, right? So I'm like, oh, what the fuck? So we're walking on. I'm trying to lead him so I can hurry up and get up there and get on stage. And he's like, they used to have like a little valet parking, but some little restaurant right there. And he's like, oh man, look at that car over there. So he takes me over and tells me all the callers, everything about this fucking car. And in the meantime, I'm looking up at the club and I can see Steve running back and forth trying to find me. Oh, he was fucking pissed.
Oh shit, dude. That sounds like a fun weekend.
Yeah, it was crazy. I loved that Levy Funny Bone, man. That
Me
was
too.
A great.
That was the first time I
Great
won a
club.
out of town contest. I won
Have
the
you
Flash there one
either
time.
one of you guys ever worked with like a celebrity that was like kind of a dick or didn't really like
Christopher Titus.
really? Chris Titus?
I mean,
did he
one of my
shun
heroes,
you?
but he did not like me.
Did he shun you or you didn't have
No,
a
he
good
just
set?
was like
Like
a
what was
dick
the
to me.
situation?
So for one, I broke one of my cardinal rules, which was never cancel a show when you're already booked. I was supposed to do a show in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and I was supposed to headline. But the Funny Bone called me like, hey, Titus's wife can't make it. Can you open for him tonight? And I was like, yep. It was going to be more money and the way better crowd, way better experience overall. If I didn't do that one night, I wasn't going to get the weekend. So, and it was like a 5-show weekend. And Titus is also sometimes known to tip out his openers. He did not tip me out at all. I might have got a little bit of extra money for doing a 2-man show. I might have got like $125 or $150 a show or something. I remember getting a little bit more money, but not from him. But I couldn't sell merch or anything like that, and I would have sold out of all the merch I could have found because he's got a very affluent crowd. But what happened was we were getting along okay, really good actually, and then he has a real thing against dick jokes. And I told like a real... not even a dick joke, but like an innuendo. It probably was just a dick joke. But I saw him like in the sound booth while I was on stage, and he was just going like this.
Ah!
And I was like, oh. Like I still had a great set. I don't know if I've ever had as good a sets as I had with his crowd.
Yeah.
But he hated that. And then I noticed the next day when I came in, I had my backpack because I was recording and stuff. Just like for myself. This is before clipping was even a thing. And he was like, nice backpack. And I was like, oh, thanks. He was like, I was kidding, kind of. And I was like, oh, you got something against backpacks? He's like, you're an adult. You should, you got stuff to carry. You should be in a briefcase or whatever.
What the fuck?
Like, what? And he also had like a thing against like wearing tennis shoes. They should be wearing dress shoes. And I was like, okay, Dad.
Yeah, that's too much.
But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, I like started getting in my own head, and I was like going to say something to him about it because it was like, I was like, there's a reason why hikers, fucking the military, soldiers don't carry briefcases, right?
That's a
There's
great
like a utility to this thing.
Hikers
And also,
soldiers.
who the fuck gives a shit about what another man's wearing?
Yeah.
Ever. I hear other
or
I hear other
saying
people
or
say stuff
doing
like
or-
that. Some people like to get on like shit on comics or men who are over a certain age who still dress like children or whatever. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
how does that affect you?
I like
Yeah.
the way Bert dresses.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Half the time he ain't even got a shirt on. That's plenty for you.
Yeah. He's just like my son, dude.
That's
You know what I'm
confidence.
saying? Get it out, man.
Yeah. What about you, Jay? You ever meet any celebrities that kind of rubbed you wrong or you didn't really vibe with?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, they're all pretty fucking cool though. But I mean, I got a decent story, but I'll probably save it for off camera, so I ain't really shitting on anybody. But
Well, this is the juice, man. This is nah. You don't. You can
Tell
say
me about
Yeah.
that comic
Say
that
it
was
for off camera.
opening for you down south. I think you were Reed. No, I don't know.
which one?
He's
was
the one. Everybody hates him. I think he only works Orlando or Tampa or something like that. Black dude with like dreads. I can't remember his name, but he's like his own hype man.
Oh, the MC at Orlando.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
doing
really,
like 20 minutes selling merch.
what?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it, but I don't remember what it was. I mean, I remember.
He was doing his thing, and I remember, like Jay was like, I guess between shows, started trying to like coach Jay.
Oh yeah, yeah, punching my set up.
So Jay goes out the next set, does his shit, but with a little bit of extra stank on it. Motherfucking got a standing O from the feature spot. And as the MC's coming up to relieve him, Jay dropped the mic on the floor.
Oh shit!
Ouch.
Oh shit!
Dude, that one time I was at the Tampa Improv. It was like a Thursday. The Thursday was like I was headlining. It was like that, and then they were doing like whatever, like an all-star show or whatever. And then and that fucking club's huge. They got a new club now, don't
Tampa?
they? Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it the same one?
I only went to Tampa one time. Another crazy story.
I remember that. I remember parts of your story. But anyway, so this guy, everybody's going up, and they're just fucking getting destroyed by this table of hecklers. 3 dudes. They're all from across the pond, and they're just fucking. Every comic that comes up, they're just fucking chewing them up and spitting them out. I mean, some people not even making their time. I'm like, all right, I'll fucking defend everybody's honor. So I'm like, all right, I'll get these motherfuckers. So I go out there and I don't pick on. I just try to go to my set and I'm just waiting for them to fucking come at me, and they do. And then so we're going back and forth. I'm holding my own pretty fucking good, but them fucking Brits, them guys are. You can't say anything to hurt their feelings. At one point I said something about the guy's mom being a cunt. That could not have bothered him in the slightest. Yeah. And then that's when I was like, "But I mean, what do you do?"
Yeah.
I mean, other
He's
than
like, "That's
going up
true."
and hitting this motherfucker. I never did end up winning that, but it was. Sometimes it's fucking hard. Sometimes the audience can. Sometimes some of them motherfuckers are funny.
I'm trying to think, like, I think all the problems I've ever had with working with somebody was always kind of a mix of something in that person's life not going right earlier in the day or that week.
Yes.
And them being unable to shake it to a certain degree. But I think the Titus situation, I think he's just generally an angry dude.
Yeah.
Because at the time, and I don't know, he may have done a lot of growing or something, but at the time he was telling me about all these trolls he was roasting on Twitter. And so I went home and I looked at his Twitter feed or whatever, and he was right. He was literally spending hours a day replying to like eggs on Twitter that were like talking shit to him. And I was like, his responses were thoughtful and funny, but what they were like saying about him was just like, you suck, you're wrong about this or whatever.
Shit that don't even need a response.
Yeah, like almost like a bot was just set to like, hey, every hour say something shitty to Titus.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to him. Keep it up.
And he was like, he would get a charge out of it. He would get he was like, oh man, did you see what I said to the one guy? He's talking about this. And I was like, yeah, I did, but man, like, he's got to have like a better outlet for you like, personally, my thoughts are worth more to me than responding to like eggs on. It would be one thing if it was like, you know, fucking Katy Perry was like, I'm not a fan of your comedy. He's like, okay, well, let me talk to you, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but these people that are like, you know, Diesel 169, it's like, I don't know if I need to dignify your dig with a response.
Yeah. It's just some weird dude in Oklahoma. Bone Snake 3. Yeah. They're like, dude, remember when Bone Snake 3 said you suck?
Dude, the fucking...
He's glad your show got canceled.
Was that Swarty?
No, it was Cronin.
Cronin, that's
Mike Cronin.
right. Mike Cronin. God
Bone
damn.
Snake 3. His grandpa. What the hell, was Bone Snake 1 taken? What the hell? Dude, and what's great, last time I saw him, I mean, it's been years and years ago, but he, so, do you know Mike Cronin?
No, I don't think so.
Well, he's a Cincinnati comic. I think he's up in like Detroit or Ann Arbor or somewhere now, right?
Okay.
I think so.
But fucking great comic, awesome dude, fucking. But he'd say that basically he says, you know, he was following his fucking dad on Twitter, fucking Bone Snake 1 or whatever, and then toward the end, you know, and you forget about it, and then at the end he's like, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Bone Snake 3. So he actually, I was like, dude, that's so fucking clever.
That's great.
The Bone Snake joke is
Bone
real
Snake.
passive aggressive but hilarious.
Bone Snake 3. Was Bone Snake 1 taken? Or was Bone Snake 2 taken? Is Bone Snake 1 Grandpa? So, instead of who's the biggest dicks, what about the
best,
coolest?
the
Who's
people I've
the...
ever worked
Yeah.
with. Attell. David Tell's the only guy that's ever put cash in my hand.
That's
after
dope.
Yeah.
I think I've only had one person, the outright give me cash, it was Lonnie Love.
Oh, wow.
She's a fucking sweet,
Yeah,
sweetheart
she's
of a
old school as hell.
fucking
She's
boy,
the best.
man. And she started blowing up right after that. But she was doing pretty damn good. She
Yeah.
was, when I opened for her, she was like Chelsea lately.
Yeah.
Every week.
In our world, she's always been a headline as far as we can remember. But she
Then she
that
got
Chelsea handler, or Chelsea lately got big and
got
all those
huge.
comics blew up.
Attell, I never opened for Attell. I've met him before,
Bert-
probably when you were open
Bert's
for him.
also pretty damn awesome.
But
I don't
yeah,
think
I mean-
he ever really cared for me too much, but he did. Always took me under his wing, took me to the shit he was doing during the day. We went to a wine tasting one time and got schlizzard in the middle of the day.
Well, we
And-
did a couple of those call into work sick shows.
Yeah, we did a couple.
Those
of
were
sick,
fucking-
those were
Comas.
Jesus,
You
dude.
went
The first one.
What's that? Calling to work
He
sick?
did a show in Columbus for a while called Calling Sick to
Every
Work.
St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day, yeah. A noon show.
Everyone calls in work
calling sick,
sick.
come get drunk at the Funny Bone, and it's like a all
Sponsored by
day.
Jameson and fucking,
Yeah.
it's a...
It was basically like they start seating at 10.
Holy shit.
And we're, I mean, they're...
we don't get out of there till 4 when they're trying to flip the room for the shows that night. And he's only there for that one show.
Yeah.
But the second year, the first year I don't remember him selling merch, but the second year, Dom from Toledo came down.
Yeah.
And Bert had his book and a couple suitcases full of T-shirts. So after the show, we're all selling his merch for him. He's like, just take my phone. We kept having to have him
Just
unlock
wads
it.
of cash.
And then we go back to the green room after everything's calmed down and shit. He's like, all right, boys, empty your pockets. I pulled out more money out of my 4 pockets than I've ever pulled out in my life. And all of us were like that. We're just stuffing 20s in there.
Yeah.
Holy
taking
shit.
credit cards. We're passing his phone around.
So that's when Stroop gave us all them dates, right? Or was that the year before?
It was the year before. The first one.
So when...
Oh, that's a good story. I can't tell this story. I've told this story too many times. You
So,
tell it, Jay.
hold on, we'll get to it. So the one when Dom came down, that's the one afterwards we hung around, then Chad Daniels met us.
Yep.
And we all went out. And then me and you, then the people got pulled over across from the condo that was at the show. So
We did a
went
whole
out and
podcast
fucking
about
was
it.
like,
Come into the condo. Come into the condo.
We
So the cops
fucking-
can't fuck with you.
No way, you
Just
guys
random
saved,
people that we saw at the show.
you saved them.
They were
Saved
at the
them.
show. Then they went to the bar with us afterwards. And then we saw them pulled over right outside the comedy condo. And I walked up to the cops. And I was like, hey, is it okay if they come inside our apartment so, you guys should just, while they wait for their ride? And they were like, oh, yeah, you do that, we can go. And
Yeah.
problem solved. The one girl was sitting on the curb. She's like, Grandma, it's not right. They're treating us like black people.
Oh my god, dude! Holy shit!
It was a special
Where were you
night.
guys at?
Right outside
Columbus.
Eastern Columbus.
Eastern
In
Columbus.
a nice area.
Yeah.
They got pulled over by like the mall cops. The mall cops called the real cops. And the one guy, when he got pulled over, he's like, I have a concealed carry license, but I don't have my gun in the car. And you would have thought he said, I have a gun and I'm thinking about shooting all you guys. Because they were like, they went into some gun protocol shit that was just ridiculously over the top.
And he didn't
He's
even
like,
have
I
it.
told you I don't have it with me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we do that show, at noon or whatever, and then Chad Daniels gets a hold of Kreischer. He's flying in. I think he might be doing the weekend or something.
He's doing the weekend.
And so then we fucking, we're just drinking.
I was
then
so wasted that day.
Man, that was a fun night, dude. Chad, those two are two of the coolest motherfuckers.
Yeah, Chad really calms people down. Bert's pretty wild, but I remember doing. Remember when we went and saw? I think we did a show with Mark Normand at the Dayton Funny Bone, and then we went down to Liberty with Bert. Were you? Maybe that was me and Chris Allen. What was I going to say about the call? Oh, so the Call in Sick to Work show. The first time we did it, I went from Columbus I just moved to Columbus. I drove down to Dayton to pick up Jay to do the show. I'm not on the show. I show up, I'm wearing green, I'm wearing some shorts, some white Nikes or something like that. Well, let's be honest, they were Pumas. But
Shaq's.
Stroop comes in, he's like, hey, good to see you boys, whatever. He's like, Adrian, you want to do time? And I was like, shit, yeah. So I run out to my car, get my emergency vacuum sealed comedy outfit, get dressed to do comedy, come back in. And then Mark Gregory shows up. He does some time. But I opened the show. I hosted the whole thing. And then we all had phenomenal. I mean, it's sold out drunk people. You couldn't miss.
Happy.
Bert came up to this Queen song. And I'll never forget, like, how masterfully he owned this, like, taking the stage to this song. And then, like, it's like, what's the song? That's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Oh, man, he had him before he even said one word.
That's dope.
But after the show, no, Bert's still on stage. Stroop comes up to me and Jay. He's like, come on back to my office, boys. I'm going to give you some dates. And literally filled our calendars for the year.
Holy fuck.
He even said, he's like, I've never done this with two comics before. I was like, we'll be gentle.
He's like, we got John Reap.
July 17 through 20
like,
in Iowa. And I'm like, I'm booked. And Jay's like, I can do that. He'd be like, I got Bert in Virginia Beach. And I was like, well, Jay, you got a thing with Bert, so why don't you do that? He's like, I'm already booked. So I got to do the Virginia Beach date with Bert. And that's when we went to the wine tasting and shit. But that was before Bert had really popped.
Yeah.
He was popping.
Was he Travel Channel big?
He was still on Travel Channel. The shows we did at Virginia, only one or two of them sold out. But if he had done that a year later, it wouldn't have even been at the Funny Bone. It would have been at a theater.
It switched that quick. It switched that quick for him. Like
once he really got off TV and decided to lean into his podcast, he really took off.
Dude, what is it about all this podcasting shit?
Well, it's not just the podcast. Yeah, it's not just the podcast.
That's true.
Bert was discovered before he even became a comic.
Yeah.
Right.
He was in Rolling Stone before he was really even doing comedy.
He's Van Wilder.
He's just,
Right.
Yeah.
He's got the Riz.
Yeah.
In a way that most people can't even pay to have it or pretend they have it.
That's
What
true.
a fucking, he's just one of them guys, like, if he's around, we're going to have fun. It's going to be fun. It don't matter if you're sitting in a fucking hotel room, it's going to be fun, laughing your fucking ass off. Getting fucking hammered. You know, the last time that I opened for him, we were in Kansas City Improv, and we do like the whole week. And the week before is when him and Reap had talked about me on his podcast or whatever. And so then we go there and we're out at lunch or whatever. He's like, oh man, I was talking about you on the podcast this week. He's like, yeah, you'll hear it or whatever. And then he says, I forget the whole fucking point. What I was.
Kansas City.
Oh yeah, so last time I ever for him, so Kansas City, I think Toledo's like it now. They got one of them arcades, draft games or whatever. So that at that time, Kansas City had just they were the only one. So we're over there having a good time, whatever, getting fucking smashed, doing shots after shots after shots, and then we sit down and we're just drunk talking. He's like, any of my dates you want to do? He's like, you know, you can do whatever. Go through my calendar. Anything you want to do, just let me know. You can have it. And he's like, but I'll tell you this. He's like, I don't drink like this usually. He's like, we are not good for each other.
Hilarious.
He's like, but with that being said, anything you want, you know, on my calendar, then just let me know. And
You were a danger to him.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that's a good way to close this.
My camera stopped.
I was gonna say, I think that's a good way to close this out. Mine's about to stop too. And it looks like Jay's is about to stop too. So hold on, not yet.
No.
Oh no, did you do it? You didn't do it.
Nah, it's still going.
All right, it's all right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow Jay and Adrian Cosby on Instagram. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Once.
Yeah, we can